Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we're talking about the New Jersey Devils, a team that went from being third place in the NHL last season, that was so fun to watch with such exciting players like Jack Hughes, who is correct in saying that people pay to watch him play, because that is an actual truth. That is a truth, okay? When he told that to Victor Arvidsson, sure, the Devils went on like a 4-game losing streak or something like that, sure. It is kind of funny for him to say that in such a desperate time for the Devils, but you can see how the anger is boiling for the New Jersey Devils at this point, because right now they are just sucking the fattest, most rotten egg in the world. The one, like the Bean Boozled that you eat in the rotten egg one, that's what they are playing like right now. This team just doesn't have a handle of anything of their destiny at this point, other than to just go down the toilet and just be disappointing this season. As the season is rounding up its final quarter of the year, the Devils are not exceeding the expectations that they were set up for this season. Everyone was expecting this to be a team to come in this year after Jack Hughes tied the record for the highest points for a season for a New Jersey Devils player with 99 points. People expected him to break that, and after lots of injuries to him this season, a few key players, especially one that I'll talk about later on, this team went from third place in the NHL last year to being an abysmal 23rd this year and just cannot get out of it. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not surprising, but it hasn't seemed like a fluke, like how some years, like maybe the Vancouver Canucks this season, right? You can see they were on the rise last year, they were in the playoff race, and now this year, boom, like they're up there, and it just kind of gradually grew to that point. This year, it doesn't feel like a fluke from the Devils, right? It just feels everything cannot go right for them. A team like the Senators, right? It feels like how abysmal and how embarrassing they are this year could be a bit of just a fluke and setback of them having growing pains into that winning team that they could be. It feels like they just haven't grown into that position yet. But last year, it felt like the Devils did, and they have just dropped the ball hard. So hard that the coach, Lindsey Ruff, has been fired, and I think rightfully so. He's never done anything to change the team, and I do think Lindsey Ruff is a good coach. I just think he's a good coach for a team that can win, and I don't think he's the type of coach I feel like the Devils kind of need that, like how they're super offensive, even on their defensive side of things, they're super offensive, right? They need a coach like a Bednar, maybe even flip it and have a coach like Barry Trotz, how him and the Capitals seemed like a match made in heaven, where the Capitals, a real offensive team using the defensive structure of a Barry Trotz, really even them out to win the Stanley Cup. I feel like this is the type of team that could really use a guy Barry Trotz is not going to go to this team now. He's the GM of the Predators, but you get what I'm saying, is they need a coach like that, and Lindsey Ruff was not him, and I think Tom Fitzgerald should be the next guy off the list, because he has done nothing to address the issues of he hasn't done anything to address the issues of the Devils, and also has banked on too many things to win them the Stanley Cup, right, and have them as a winning team. And last year, I feel like a lot of people were praising him to be such a good GM, and I was too, but his plans have just fallen flat, and he has not done anything to address the obvious glaring issues for the team. So let's start off with some of the issues. For one, I should have put on the board this season, injuries galore. To players like Dougie Hamilton, who only played 20 games this season, so his offensive and just number one defenseman role on the Devils has been missed for all of the season. Jack Hughes injuries have really just kept them back, especially at a pivotal time at the beginning of the season, and keeping that momentum rolling for them. A lot of players like Nico Hischier and Timo Meier especially, who I'll talk about in a second, just have not really been able, have just kept getting knocked down by injury, player after player. A lot of the players on the team, you look at the lineup, right? The team's played 69 games or so, 70 games, somewhere around there, and most of the players have only played 58 games. So a lot of those top guys missing 10 games, and when one of those type of guys are absent from a team, imagine the Oilers missing McDavid for 10 games out of the season, which they did at one point. But you get what I'm saying. That is a huge blow to a team, especially at a pivotal time like this where they really needed to bounce back, and they just missed those guys a lot. Timo Meyer being injured as well, but also just not being that superstar player that they were kind of expecting him to be. And I thought this was going to be a match made in heaven. I thought there was one thing this team was missing, with Jack Hughes being like that superstar all-around guy who can pass the puck around, well, not all around, but that superstar offensive guy who can pass the puck, score goals as well, and just make plays happen and lead the team. He's a smaller guy though, right? So the speed and the skill in the world, but he just doesn't really have that goal scorer, just like powerhouse nature that a Timo Meyer offers to a team. And Timo, it has not been Timo time in New Jersey. He has only gotten 38 points this year out of 58 games, I think. Which, sure, 58 games, he's missed 10 games out of the season, but 38 points is not where they were expecting him to be, especially at an $8.8 million value, a cap hit against the team. Other players in the league with that kind of cap hit, with Pietrangelo, Mika Zibanejad, Kirill Kaprizov, and Philip Forsberg being lower than him. Well, Pietrangelo I think is a little bit higher. But everyone, Mika, Kirill, and Forsberg. Forsberg, 74 points right now in 69 games this season, right? Leads the team. Leader of his team year after year. Pietrangelo, I think, is at $9 million, so he's just a little bit above him. But Pietrangelo, a defenseman who can lead a team and shut down plays on his own and bring a Stanley Cup home twice to his team. Right? Mika Zibanejad. I mean, I don't need to tell you about Mika Zibanejad. He's a fantastic player. Any team would love to have him. And a guy like Kirill Kaprizov is a turnaround player, probably the best player ever in Minnesota Wild history. And he's being paid in the same vein as those guys, and he's got 38 points. That is a solid third liner, bottom second liner kind of scoring. Not very good. 21 goals, like, sure. 21 goals is good, but he's just not been that, like, because he doesn't need to be a big points guy, right? He doesn't need to get, like, 90 points, right? But if he got, like, 40 goals and like, 20, 30 assists and had, like, 60, 70 points, right? As long as he was that, like, goal scorer, that's what they're looking for. But no, he is not there. He is just not there. 21 goals this year. Probably won't get to 30 by the end of it. And that is just not who they were looking for out of Timo Meyer. And also, like, the goals for the offense has dropped this year from last year. Last year they were, I believe, 5th or 4th in goal scoring last year. This year they are just kind of in the middle of the pack. And that has dropped, as well as the suffering that they are getting and the beating that they're getting in their own zone. Goals against, 7th in the NHL for goals against. Teams like the Red Wings, Arizona, the Minnesota Wild, the Capitals, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, other teams who are not known for having the best of goals against numbers, are better than them. The Devils, I mean, I'm not breaking any news to you. The Devils' goal defense and goals defending has been horrendous here. And it's not a surprise. Their weaknesses of, like, guys like Luke Hughes, who is, sure, absolutely fantastic at helping create offense, but he is so weak with a -19 this season. Just worst on the team. And it's not a surprise. He's a rookie, right? You can't blame the rookie for it. You have to blame the structure that Fitzgerald has put on the ice. That guys like Luke Hughes, guys like Simon Nemec are just not those kind of players for this team. And Dougie Hamilton also being out, right? Just weak defense. John Marino also just not really a superstar. He's a secondary defenseman, right? To need those guys like Hamilton to carry most of the load. And this team just does not have them. They just do not have them, and they are suffering from it. Like, suffering hard from it, right? And goaltending, the biggest thing. And I know, I'm just kind of rushing through these points, but I'm not breaking any ice to anyone. The goaltending of the New Jersey Devils has been insanely bad. I would say ever since last playoffs it looked bad. But last year, at least guys like Vanacek were kind of like looking somewhat decent. But this season, right, they go into this year knowing goaltending was weak, especially when they couldn't find really a good goaltender to hold the fort down in the playoffs. They go into this year not solving any of those issues, even though there was like always hints that they were going to. And I think Fitzgerald also said at the draft, he said he was like, I think Emily Kaplan or one of the someone asked him a question. He was like, are you going to fix the goaltending this year? What are you going to do about that? And like Connor Hellebuck or Markstrom, I think they remember saying Connor Hellebuck, and they're like, what are you going to do about that? And Fitzgerald was like, oh, we're always looking forward to fixing the team. And he's done nothing to fix any of those issues. And it's just like the options were there. And sure, they completely shake it up with bringing in Jake Allen, who is sometimes very solid goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, but not like the answer to the question. And they trade straight up Vitek Vanacek for Kaapo Kakkonen from the Sharks. Once again, like a good idea. We need a good goalie. Where should we look? Oh, the Sharks. The key to good goaltending in the league for us trying to fix our issues. Like, Kakkonen has at times been a very solid goaltender, but I would say Mackenzie Blackwood has been an even better one, but I don't think he would want to go back to New Jersey after being flipped from there, so I'm guessing that wasn't really an option, and Kaapo Kakkonen, it's yet to be seen, right? Because the Devils right now, they are about 6 points out of the playoff race, and they could make it up, right? But with their moves, and the current way they're playing, can they make up those 6 points and the other teams fall off? It's possible. That's 3 wins to make up in the course of about 13 games or so. It's possible. It's possible for them to go on a 4-game winning streak, and the teams that they need to falter have like 2-game losing streaks. They get within 2 points or 1 point or so, and they're there, right? They're on the verge, so they have to play strong. They cannot have like a 4-game losing streak. They cannot allow any ground to be gotten, right? Because if it becomes a 4-game winning deficit, that's an issue. 5 games, then you're basically out of it. That's almost half the amount of games left that you have to make up. Right now, there are less than a third left that they can reclaim. They can do it. But they're going to need a strong effort from their guys. They're going to need a strong effort. And really, it could have been done. They could have done something with Markstrom on the block. And I know he didn't want to be moved, but him on the block. Guys like UC Saros always in the trade rumors. Some goaltenders that just are out there. Like, they could have gone for... They could have done something, and even in the offseason, they could have done something. Take a look at a guy like Connor Ingram, right? Look at how good he was playing for Arizona, or Vamelka, right? Both those goaltenders, supremely, like, I don't want to say supremely underrated, but good goalies that could use a new home that on a winning team, or at least a team trying to win, unlike the Coyotes, and bring them. Ingram's not going anywhere. I think the Coyotes are settled with him, but Vamelka, bring him in. At least go on a limb and bring some other goaltender in, right? Go out there and go for a like a, I don't even know right now, but find somebody, right? And I just don't think Jake Allen and Kaapo Kakkonen were the answers. And especially the lack of any movement for a defenseman. For a guy like Chris Tanev that the Stars bring in, that looks like a genius move. Guy like Joel Edmondson and whoever else the Maple Leafs brought in. I can't remember right now. Like those kind of moves just to show you're trying to do something. But instead they do nothing. The defense is still weak and with a couple of rookies that are not good enough for the NHL and put them in the playoffs. And if they somehow make up the ground and a team like the Islanders just fall off the cliff, or the Red Wings once again just fall into a wall, and the Devils go on a 5-game winning streak, they make up the ground, they hold on with that 1 point and make it into the wild card. They make it in. They are a toss-out in the first round. They do not make it past a team like the Rangers. They do not make it past a team like the Hurricanes. They are not going anywhere against a team like the Flyers will bounce them around. The Devils are screwed. Of course, they should try to go for the playoffs, but it's not going to be a hope. They are going to make it in. They will be a bounce in the first round. They're not going anywhere. And Fitzgerald should be fired, or he should be told, this is your last run, bud. Like, Fitzgerald, Fitzy, you're done if you don't do anything, right? If you do not make the moves to make this team better, you're gone. And he should go out there and do whatever he can to bring in a guy like UC Saros, who I'm guessing would be who they're banking on, or try to, because the offense is what it is, right? The offense is set in stone, which I do like. Their depth is very good. It's just kind of been a setback year for them offensively. So depth, offense, fine. But defense and goaltending need to be addressed. Hamilton comes back, Luke Hughes, Nemec, another good next year. They will bounce back. Luke Hughes and Nemec especially will have that rookie year shake-off. They'll be a little bit stronger, a little bit better in the NHL and fit more there. But they need to bring in some more guys. They need to pad the defense, and especially the goaltending. Get a guy like UC Saros, get a guy like Markstrom. They will contend for you. and then the Devils will bounce back next year. If they don't, then they're still screwed, and they will not win, because you cannot win a Stanley Cup with this kind of defense. Yeah, so that's it. The Devils, screwed up team, don't know what they're doing, just abysmal. So that's all I gotta say. So thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription down below. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.